and Turkey. But beyond the rhetorics, how will this translate to the expected deliverables? For implications of these agreements and Turkey's investment plans in Nigeria, over now to our guests in the studio.
All right, many thanks, Timothy Yusuf, for that background report. And joining us now to discuss the Nigeria-Turkey agreement right here in the studio is Dr. Kingsley Tochukwude, a senior advocate of Nigeria and Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology. A pleasure to welcome you to Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you,
I guess it's your first time?
It's the first time.
On NTA Live?
On Good Morning.
On Good Morning, exactly.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Let me also welcome Dr. Abdul Razak Salihu Ibrahim. He's of the Department of Political Science and International Relations, Nile University. We thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigeria.
Thank you. He's always he's a regular here, so he's part of the NTA family. And also joining us via Zoom from Lagos is Honorable Ben Onyeku Anyebe, a business consultant, CEO, Diamond Gates Multi-Resources Limited. He's also the president, Nidio Turkey, and ambassador for peace, unity, and cultural heritage, Festac Africa Renaissance, and advisor and ambassador for Turkey Emerging Abuja Investment Program. He joins us via Zoom from Ankara. Good morning. It's good to have you.
Morning. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Right. Let's begin from here in the studio. We'll begin with the Honorable Minister. What exactly do these agreements mean for Nigeria's innovation agenda?
Thank you, and good morning, Nigeria. Congratulations to Nigeria on that significant diplomatic mission undertaken by the president, who led ministers and other top government officials to that mission. And of course, it was something that was well prepared. And the president gave a very good showing of himself, led the tone or set the tone for the other bilateral engagement that we had sector by sector. One of the things that the president demonstrated was his intellectual and mental sagacity. He spoke from the heart, not any notes prepared, engaged with his counterpart, the Turkish president. And he, of course, made Nigeria appear strong, because anytime you are going into international interaction, you must demonstrate that you have value you are bringing, and you are not coming from the point of weakness. And so the president demonstrated that and set the tone for the interaction we had across sectors. So congratulations to Nigeria, and congratulations to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Now, on the issue of science, technology, and innovation, that is actually something that was in the heart of all the deliberation and interaction we had across all the sectors. You will understand that science, technology, and innovation, something that cut across every segment, every sector, every endeavor. And that's actually the understanding that we had from the beginning. Even the counterpart from Turkey, and even the system of Turkey, you would see from the way they designated their ministry that science, technology, and innovation is something that they ingrain across all sectors: education, industry, trade and investment. And with that understanding, we engaged. And then we begin to see impacts from these talks, because it was just not to talk. This was an engagement to bring strategic partnership that would have impact on both countries and the citizens. So you see us, we worked on developing joint research projects. We also talked about co-creating industrial projects that would work for our defense industry and other industries, because Nigeria, we know we are faced with security and defense challenges, but it would take Nigeria to solve our defense and security problems. And what we need is just support and partnership from other countries, and that's what Turkey presented, and we're taking that fully. And before long, we'll start seeing the tangible benefits.
So which
of
sectors?
What
Which
are the major
stand to
focus
benefit first?
sectors? Give us an overview of the 9 agreements signed by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Of course,
and what are the major focus areas?
Now, the major focus, I will certainly focus on science, technology, and innovation.
Okay.
That relates to my own sector. Now, one of the things that we delved into was on the issue of translating research to commercialization. Because you discover that Nigeria were not lacking on research, but it's the volume of research that we translate to tangible solution to our problems. And from what we discovered in Turkey, their educational institution and their research are immediately linked to the industries and to the market. So we actually came to certain understanding and resolutions, and which we have all actually translated into an MOU, that Nigeria and Turkey, we would go into joint research projects, especially, like I said, in the area of defense, in the area of high-tech industrialization, and other sectors that we looked into. We visited their technoparks, very advanced technoparks. One of the things you will notice is that their technoparks are situated or entrenched within their higher educational system, and then linked to the market, linked to the industries. So you see big industry players having spaces within their technoparks that are all situated in the universities. So we have established links with these technoparks so that would link them directly with our own incubation and tech hubs in Nigeria, so that there will be research, co-research, there will be exchange of knowledge, and co-development of projects in areas that are of priority to Nigeria. Okay,
you just came from Davos straight to Turkey, and Nigeria has signed a lot of bilateral agreements with countries, with Brazil, with Russia, with other countries, and then now Turkey. What makes the agreement with Turkey different from other bilateral agreements that we have?
Now, what makes the agreement with Turkey significant compared to others, and like I said, I will speak from, yes, but the perspective is that agreement, or the MOU that we worked on, understand the link between science, technology, innovation, investment, and industry, which they call STIQ. So unlike what you see in many of the agreements that you sign, you see just trade and investment, you see agreement on education, you see it separate as, dealt as separate endeavors. But here, because of what has worked for that country, which can work for any other country, because, and of course, Turkey has also done this with countries like Italy and Hungary. So you see integration of these core areas which are developed impact for the country: science, technology, innovation, industry, and investment. So we treated this as a whole, also treated technology and innovation as a culture.
As a culture? As
a culture. Yes, it's a culture. Because it's when we view STI as a culture that we begin to treat it as not just a government thing. It should be something that involves all stakeholders. And who are the stakeholders? Holistic citizens, government, industry, the academia, and even the diaspora. And this should start from the cradle, from the very cradle. You discover in that country that it's right from the least level of educational system up, and from up down. So you integrate the problems in the wider society, in the industry, and then that problem trickles down to research problems that can be dealt with. It trickles down to areas of focus for study, of teaching, down to the very least of the educational system. And because of the importance that, let me even say this, a country is as advanced as its science, technology, and innovation. Yes.
Yeah.
If the United States is leading, it's because of its advancement in STI. Same for China. So this is something that must be ingrained within our system. It should be a culture. And that's what we all agreed that we should treat. That's why you saw the Women Affairs and our own Women Affairs, and then other ministers across the various sectors. And then when these were done, my counterpart and I sat down with other members and began to say, how do we now use STI to drive all these resolutions we've made, including the cultural dimension of this.
And in all of these, what sectors stand to benefit first for Nigeria, and are there timelines?
The sector that may benefit first is the defense industry or the defense sector, because of the fact that it appears to be the most challenged. And the first priority of any government is defense and security. And of course, there are certain things that wouldn't be said in the public, but that's the major focus of discussion, and the impact would soon be felt. But beyond defense, like I said, even our education, the education sector, key. You know, there was a report on this day that indicated that Nigerian universities are very strong on research, but not strong on turning research to solutions for the public, for the country, for its citizens. And based on the understanding and the resolution or agreement that we have, we're linking the research institutions and educational institutions that are strong on research in that country with our own educational institutions here. And one of the things that we're already working on is bringing big industry players, stakeholders in the education system, and stakeholders in the SCI ecosystem of Nigeria to begin to work together. Because while it appears that we have not made great advancement, but we have done well in science technology, no doubt. You see our fintech leading in the unicorns, African unicorns, right? So we have not done badly, but we can do even far better. One of the things you discover that we are yet to establish is coordination of the efforts, the working together of the critical stakeholders, the academia working with the industry working with the government, and also it's with that understanding that we're now working together to have a forum of the academia, the industry, and the government. And when I say government, it's not just the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology. We don't see science, technology, and innovation as a ministry thing. It's an ecosystem thing. Yeah. It's a system thing. So I do not see myself as
dependency.
Exactly. So I do not see myself as just minister of the Ministry of Innovation, Science and Technology.
Okay.
It's the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology situated within an ecosystem involving other ministries.
It's like you're in the center.
Yes.
You spread your tentacles.
Exactly.
Across the other. Okay.
Exactly.
We need to pause you here for a bit so that we can bring in the other guests. Now, let's bring in Dr. Abdulrazak Saliu Ibrahim of the Department of Political Science and International Relations, Nigerian University here in Abuja. He's in our studio. So, in your opinion, how does this, agreement align with Nigeria's broader, Africa and global diplomacy goals that we have out there? With this agreement that has been signed by Nigeria and Turkey?
Thank you for having me once again. I think the agreement is coming at the right time because Nigeria and Turkey have a very long history of contact. Historical antecedent have it that I had the privilege of seeing the emir, the late emir of Kano, who told us, because I'm equally privileged to school in Turkey, so yes, so, and we paid him a visit, and he told us that the first contact that's of white people in Nigeria is actually the Turkish, and they came to support the Bordeaux Empire then. So away from that, this is coming at the right time, as I earlier mentioned, because there's been a kind of strained relationship between Nigeria and Turkey involving this issue of security and their involvement in some of the Islamist groups that are very violent. So I have envisaged that the visit could have been from the Turkish president, because as a teacher, a lecturer, we equally predict issues that might happen. So Nigeria can leverage on the strategic location of Turkey, because Turkey is a country that is situated between Europe and Asia. While I was there, I received my classes in Europe, and I sleep. My residence is in Asia, so that's in Istanbul. So, and Turkey have a formidable economy, a very robust economy, and they are doing well in the aspect of security and counter-terrorism. They've had their own shares of terrorist group, which is popularly referred as the PKK, that have been terrorizing that nation. So, and they were able to actively counter this group through different innovations and engagement. So Nigeria can leverage on their experience, and this military engagement that they have, that is the memorandum of understanding that have been signed. Nigeria should leverage on this by making sure that we did not just sit on it.
Yeah, would you not just... I like the fact that you brought in the Ken Borno aspect into it, because I remember they said they even had an embassy in Turkey in the 1600s then, and they were having exchange of arms, you know,
including, I think, one of the pilots was from Bordeaux that they trained in Turkey then.
In Turkey.
Yes.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Abdulrazak. Let's now make that technological trip to Turkey, where we have Ben Anyibe joining us. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much.
From Turkey, how is Nigeria currently viewed as a business partner?
Thank you once more, and good morning to you, the host and guest in the studio, and good morning to Nigeria. Maybe first permit me to, first of all, thank our president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, for this historic action-packed state visit to Turkey, and also, of course, the host president, President Tayyip Erdogan, who has been nursing, if I may, a very intensive or great engagement with Nigeria. It is really delightsome to see that both presidents have done something concrete to bring this aspiration to where it is today. So I want to say, Mr. President, the diaspora community here, on behalf of the diaspora, we want to say a big thank you, because this visit, even though it was short, it was far-reaching, and we are looking forward to the dividends and the benefits it's going to yield going forward. On your question about, if I may, if you may rephrase, you said how will Nigeria benefit from the visit?
Asking from Turkey, where you are, How is Nigeria currently being viewed as a business partner?
Oh, okay. I think Nigeria is viewed by Turkey as the biggest partner in Africa. I think starting from two former presidents in the past, referred to as the prime ministers and the head of states. There had been a lot of engagement, a lot of outreach to engage Nigeria and have Nigeria as one of the Turkish number one partner in Africa. Sometimes sentiments around politics, maybe religion, kind of slowed down leveraging this. But Turkey, most industries in Turkey, whether they are manufacturing or whether they're defense or even ordinary SMEs, they are all interested and eager to go to Nigeria. It is the political will and the, if you may, the two countries ready to engage that has delayed that interest. But the interest is strong, and the Turkish government and the Turkish business community, they're all eager to be in Nigeria. But let me also stress that when it comes to Nigeria, there is this cloud of uncertainty, or if you like, fear that is coming from lack of proper experience and knowledge. So the fear has been there. Most of them, are not very, they're not very knowledgeable on how to engage and how to leverage on the opportunities that exist in Nigeria. But in terms of the potential of Nigeria, it is an open secret. But the fear of many of them to really know the best way to engage has been the problem. And then you also have an issue of people, trying to engage with people who are not experienced in both countries. I mean, Turkish businessmen, following a friend or emotionally joining someone, and then the business, the exploration will not go as expected, and that brings a little discouragement. Nigerians coming here based on friendship, without engaging the experts and people who will lead them, to make reach their objectives. So that has slowed the business interest, but the interest is huge, is strong, and it's always been there.
Okay, I'm still going to stay with you. You are the advisor and ambassador for Turkey Imagine Abuja investment program. And, both countries are looking at a $5 billion investment, trade volume, actually, that could, exceed and go all the way to 10 billion naira, as I was reading up yesterday. And can you tell us what concrete steps are there to move us from paperwork to profit in the investment sector?
Thank you very much. I think that's a very crucial question, even at this stage, immediately after this visit. I think the Nigerian government should do what they have not been doing. Number one, I am not saying this because I'm the president of NIDO Turkey here. Now, Nigerians are involved in most of these sectors. For example, we have more than 20 associate professors that are currently teaching and working in Turkish university. We have lecturers as well who are coming up. And we scientists have doctors, we have engineers, and some of them are working with Turkish companies either in Turkey or outside Turkey. So I think the first thing our government should do is to see how to engage some of these experts in different fields, especially in the areas of interest, and carry them along when engaging with Turkey. And having said that, I also want to point out that when our president came here last week, most of the engagement was just like, wow, it's like somebody has been taking note of what Nigerians on their own have been trying to do for years. We have Nigerians who have brought, some innovators to link them with maybe universities or institutions. Last 2024 in September, I hosted the delegation, 10-man delegation from ITF. Took them to universities, took them to industrial zones in Turkey, and it was like a wow visit. But the follow-up has not been very, very encouraging. So I think our government should find a way to engage some of us who are here and engage some of the experts who are here working with Turkey, and that will work out well. Another way is, after this visit, a diaspora desk has been established by Turkey, and that desk, it intends to receive proposals and evaluate them, and then have action plan to go with them. So I think that diaspora desk should be, well coordinated and supported, either having someone from the diaspora liaising with the government or working with the government appointed to really present the agenda, the areas of priority to our government. And why do I say that? Because sometimes, the way most of our officials engage is more of it's more of theoretical. The practical aspect of it is lacking in some of the engagement. And people here with 20, 30 years experience in Turkey, they can really come up, because even Honorable Tochukwu, it's a pity I couldn't have one-on-one engagement with you when you are here, but I saw you were, with a lot of people, but I didn't have that opportunity. It's good to have you here. So, and I hope maybe when I'm in Abuja, I will have the opportunity to be with you. So, Nigerians here are valuable in turning this opportunity into a big, practical, to make it practical so that Nigeria benefit more from it. Maybe
Thank you, Ben Anyibe. Thank you for your contribution so far. We will get back to you, for further contributions. But for now, we return to the studio where we have the Honorable Minister. And I've been wondering...
We need to remind our viewers to send our viewers need to say, if you want any, you need to ask the Minister or any of our guests here a question. Let's have your views and messages via text and WhatsApp. We'll be waiting for that.
Now, you are Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, and I've been wondering how this partnership will drive technology transfer between Nigeria and Turkey.
Now, of course, if Nigeria wants to advance technologically, which of course is at the heart of the Renewed Hope agenda, so it's something we're conscious of, we must, and that is what we are doing, stop dependence on technology importation. So for the problems we have, we must desist from looking outside always to import technology, pay for the technology, and that's it. So, but the understanding we have during our engagement in Turkey is that any technology or innovation that we want to apply to our problems in Nigeria, including defense, manufacturing, industrialization, and others, must have behind it an agreement, all right, to not just bring the technology, but to involve Nigeria all the way. Involve Nigerian tech people, innovators, and businesses. Because if you just say technology transfer, it's easier said than done. From the practical perspective, it can only happen when there's a concrete arrangement to involve the people that are business people that are interested in profit. So not just government officials, not just agreements, but the practicality of the marketplace. So Nigerians must have stake in the businesses, must have stake in the business. And when technical people, technologists, or engineers are being engaged, right, Nigerians must be involved in this. These were some of the understanding we have. It is true that you could now talk about capacity development for our own tech people. Talk about sharing economic interest and profit by the businesses involved. Because if it's government, you know, because of the transparency of the tenure of government officials, like it said, soldier comes, soldier go. It's barrack that remained. So once there's business interests in such project, there's no businessman that wouldn't want sustainability. So it is in this integration, it is in this sustainability that technology transfer can happen. And so that is part of the discussion. So any technology that we're bringing to solve our problems must have behind it an agreement that Nigerian businesses, institutions, and of course tech people must be involved. And of course, aspect of it must be done here.
Okay.
Both production, servicing, and other things that they understand. Because we are actually very keen on reducing technology dependence.
So you explained recently that discussion with Turkey, I'm going to look at it, counterparts aim to shift from academic research towards market-ready innovation, transforming discoveries into products and services that drive industrial growth. How can this impact our industries?
The Nigerian industry would actually be the first beneficiaries. Let me say that our industries understand the place of research. Some of our business people, when they want to upscale their products or meet market needs that have identified that will be profitable, what they normally do is to send a request to places like China. Please look at what we can produce to meet these particular needs. And from the practical perspective and understanding of the market, the Chinese partners would do the research and then produce something. All right? And they would now pay and get that production going. Now, if we can
bring it in-house.
Okay. The first thing is about the ease of access. You have this in Nigeria, and you see that not only do you have ease of access, but even the cheap, in quote, cheap labor. You can't compare what will be charged in China with exchange rate with what will be charged here in Nigeria. If our focus is to turn research into products. So, and if our institution, research institution, not just higher institution, our research institution begin to regard research and as not just for research sake, but research targeted at solutions.
Problem solving, yeah.
Problem solving. Research targeted at meeting the needs of businesses and industry. And let me say this, industrialists, business people would pay for research if they know the research outcome would benefit their business, will upscale their business, will be profitable to them. So let's forget about even telling industry or business people to be patriotic and fund research. No, let research show that it can benefit their business, it can make them profitable. They would gladly pay, and like I said, they will even pay cheaper compared to what they send
other parts of the world.
Yes, other parts of the world
right.
to have. So it will impact our industry, upscale our industrial capacity, advance our solution provision as Nigeria, from our industry to our market.
All right. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Yes. Now, I understand that we have been joined by one of our own and Chairman of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa. We thank you very much for joining us on Good Morning Nigeria.
Much, and well, it's afternoon here. But how are you? And good morning over there.
All right, well, good to see you. Now, what role will Nigerians in Turkey play in all of these agreements?
Well, thank you very much. As you know, one of the MOUs signed had to do with the cooperation between the diaspora communities of both countries. So the Nigeria Diaspora Commission signed an MOU with the Turkish, they have a ministry, Turkish ministry for their ministry for talks abroad and other related communities. So that was the first time it's going to happen. At least that's the first MOU that NIDCOM will be signing, and that is a plus. It's happening under the renewed hope of Mr. President. It's never happened before. So we're quite excited about that. And it's very significant because we have a significant number of Nigerians in Turkey, particularly students, professionals, and very, very, very successful businessmen. And there's been this scholarship they've been, giving to Nigerian students and all that. So we'll be cooperating with them in terms of people-to-people engagement. The Nigerian diaspora, the Turkish diaspora. How can we cooperate in areas like science and technology? I'm glad the minister is there. We had a discussion with him that there's a lot we'll be doing with him. Science and technology, innovation, education, businesses. When I met with the diaspora community, even our students who have graduated, there could be strong links of attracting businesses to Nigeria. So we have a lot of Nigerians there who will be getting involved. Now, before they could not do this, now there's an MOU between the two diaspora agencies of both countries. So it's going to be easier to work with them, to work together, to identify those Nigerians that can get involved in this cooperation with Turkey. And also, of course, there's the downside. We do get some issues of one thing or the other, which we immediately actually resolved when I met with the presidency of Talks Abroad, when we met with him. Now, I heard Mr. Ben, president of NIDO Turkey, talk about Turkey setting up diaspora desks. I don't know where you got that information from. There's no NIDO desk in the Turkish anything. So let's just get that clear. There's no NIDO desk anywhere. In fact, they do not easily recognize NGOs like that. It's a country with a lot of discipline and a lot of laws. But what will be happening is that the Diaspora Commission can now officially work with the Presidency of Talks Abroad and related communities. In fact, beyond just the talks we are already having a program already with the Talks Abroad. Like the program we're having in Canada, they said they want to get involved. Whatever we do in UK, they want to work with us because they believe so much in the diaspora community. Nigeria has the best anywhere in the world, whether it's in Turkey or America, anywhere in the world. So they also said very good things about diaspora. And if there's one bad story, it doesn't matter. There are so many Nigerians doing very well in Turkey, and they are growing. They're expanding. And the Nigerian diaspora has contributed so much to the growth and development of Turkey through businesses and all that. So that was it with them. And we have hit the ground running. We already met with them. We're already arranging 2 programs. we'll be going back to now meet our community, the diaspora community, in large numbers. You know, we have the issue of Northern Cyprus, which of course you should know about. In Northern Cyprus, we have almost, I don't want to be specific, but thousands of students there. But in Northern Cyprus is recognized only by Turkey. So if there's a problem with our students in Northern Cyprus, we can't do anything except with Turkey. Because the United Nations does not recognize Northern Cyprus, it's only Turkey. In about a few years back, maybe 3 years ago, within 2 years, we had so many cases of deaths, arrests, a whole lot of things from Northern Cyprus. Now, we couldn't do anything except our embassy in Ankara will have to go through Turkey. So, but now with the MOU that we have with them, it's easier to now know who to call immediately when there's an issue. So, however, I have to say that the last 2 years, after engagement with Turkey, we had none of those issues. So we have thousands of students in Northern Cyprus. We have thousands in Turkey and still growing. So it's easier now to have that communication, easier now to work in the tripartite way. The Nigerian Embassy in Ankara, the Diaspora Commission, the Presidency of Talks Abroad and other communities, and deepening people-to-people engagement. So the idea is how can we tap into our diaspora? And how can they also tap into their diaspora to build a better relationship, stronger relationship between both countries? So that was very instrumental, and I believe that we'll achieve so much with that people-to-people engagement. Thank you.
I believe you achieved so much, and you've hit the ground running, like you said, and I thank you for making that clarification on NIDO. Now, you're one of us, you will always be one of us. There's media and communication cooperation clause in the agreement. Now, what does this mean for Nigerian journalists and broadcasters in real terms here? Let's get the details.
Unfortunately, I have no idea of what that particular MOU talks about. I have the idea of what the MOU we signed, NIDCOM and them signed, because we worked on it for quite a long time with the Turkish ambassador in Nigeria. I want to use this opportunity to commend the Turkish ambassador in Nigeria. You know, he worked very hard on this, and so did the Diaspora Commission. So I don't know the details of the MOU of the media, so it would be unfair for me to talk about it because I don't know what the MOU specifies. I know the one that the Diaspora Commission specifies in particular. So I would not be able to talk about that.
I wish you had more information. Now, with Nigerian students, you know, and professionals actually see scholarship and exchanges, or is this just merely a symbol? When will we start seeing, you know, the engagement between Nigeria and the education sector, and, you know, bringing our students there through scholarships and all that? Nigeria has a lot to offer to the world.
In fact, they've already started the process. And that is one of the information we have to pass out. The process has started. And we want to increase the number of scholarships that they are giving. And also the number of Nigerians that can work there. In fact, even training, for public service training, we talked about it. And they're already saying, oh, the process will start very soon. Just go ahead and apply. And what they'll be doing is increasing the numbers. I speak with, I think they said we have almost about 463 again. You know, me and my numbers that are already on scholarship, and they need to increase it beyond the between Northern Cyprus, Turkey. I'm sure we have about 8,000 or 9,000 students. You know, so they want to increase that, and they want to also increase whatever I do in terms of capacity building, service training in that regard. How to apply. The qualifications and all that. Again, that we spoke about because it's also under the Ministry of Talks Abroad, and how even they intend to expand. And one thing is the raising the diaspora community. They kept emphasizing how fantastic Nigerians in Turkey are. In fact, if you go to the office there, they have this plaque of a whole lot of things. There's a Nigerian student there. I can't remember his name. Unfortunately, he was not around when we visited. He has his picture there. He's one of those amazing Nigerians in Turkey, just one of the many. His picture is displayed there, the only one. So, but it was in Germany or something on a program when we went. So even for us in diaspora cooperation, these Nigerians will be working with them. What can you also contribute to Nigeria? What can you do with your country? So we will be, along with the Ministry of Education, they will be, introducing more scholarships, more capacity building, more training, and then also our own diaspora will be contributing back home. You have this skill, you've acquired this skill, this knowledge. What can you do with your home country? Now you have NITCOM, which is your embassy in Nigeria, where, there's a bridge, so to speak, to ensure that it's a symbiotic relationship.
Thank you very much, Honorable Abike Dabirewa. We will get back to you. Let's get back here in the studio at the moment, and I'm getting back to Dr. Abdulrazak Salih Ibrahim. Now, what makes this engagement with Turkey different, from the previous ones? And would you say that the agreements have been influenced by economics or geopolitics?
I think what makes this agreement to be unique and significant is that Turkey have an outstanding connection and relationship with Nigeria, so to say, because they have over 50 companies right here in Nigeria, spread across. And if you look at the volume of trade between Turkey and Nigeria, is over $400 million. So that shows that Nigerian is a formidable partner with Turkey, and with the increasing level of our population, population is number and it can translate into money. So they can leverage. We are more than Turkey in terms of population. I think they are about 80 million or thereabout. They can leverage on the population of Nigeria and establish industries, markets that will engage our people, so that by so doing, they too will be able to develop in terms of their economic and other aspect of their country. Having said that, if you equally look deep, you notice that the geostrategic position of Turkey is equally with the crisis that we are witnessing in the international political system. Most especially, yes, it's a drive, because the oil, and Nigeria is one of the leading oil producer in the world. So they want to seize this opportunity, because the crisis in Venezuela across, and with the nature, the dynamics that is happening within the Western countries, you can see the strained relationship between US and Europe. So Nigeria remain as a window that they need to harness. If they leverage on this properly, I think it's going to be a win-win for both of us. But I want a situation whereby Nigerians should not just key into the oil economy. We should look at the other windows, because having said that I was privileged to school in Turkey, we can look at the agricultural sector. They love sesame seed very well. They use it, and then they love chocolates. They love coffee. We can leverage on all these areas that Nigerians can now engage them in agricultural production, and equally in our solid mineral industries, because there are people that love jewelries, they love rings, and Nigeria is so blessed as a nation that we have all of this gemstone, milestone that they can equally be, they can get access to, and then both of us can have this. As the Honorable Minister rightly captured it, we are not going to just go there and then bring. It's something that they need to come and establish. Establish, and then there can now be a kind of technological transfer through trainings and retrainings between both countries. So if Nigeria is going to take this opportunity by establishing a functional secretariat that will look to the implementation of all these MOU, because Without this, it could just be a paperwork, another paperwork again. But with the high level of dignitaries, important people that the president went with, you know that this is a robust package that by God's grace, we are, if God willing, that they are going to implement it. However, we should know that if they want this to work, then we need to have our own effort, holistic effort, by fostering our capacity building, by ensuring again that Nigeria is made safe for them to be able to come in, and which they are working on. And we can equally add that the bottlenecks, the bureaucracy in importation, exportation, and all those paperwork, these are the areas that government needs to equally look into, because there are some Turkish, what they call industries then, that if you have an engagement with them, they'll say, look, I will only bring your goods to Lagos, then you can sort it. So imagine if those bureaucracies and those bottlenecks have been settled, and then they create an enable environment where these people can, engage peacefully, and that level of trust. You know, this export, what they call, institution that they can create, you directly involve yourself with the government, because people can take that opportunity and then they scam people online and all of those things. But with this type of engagement, they've signed an MOU, as she rightly, Honorable Dabri rightly captured it. She said, now you know who to talk to. So you've had that engagement. I think moving forward, there's going to be a positive change in this visit.
Okay. All right.
So we'll take a break. When we return, the conversation continues. Don't forget to send in your comments and views. We'll be waiting. You're welcome back, and you're still watching Good Morning Nigeria. We're discussing the Nigeria-Turkey agreement that were just signed recently before the president came back. And we have guests in the studio here, and we're still talking. So, Honorable Minister, I would like you to sort of explain to us the Joint Economic and Trade Committee, JETCO, that was established sort of to institutionalize economic and business cooperation. I believe you're part of the conversation there?
Yes, I was part of the conversation. Okay. Just like you mentioned earlier, if the talk or the engagement is left at the level of senior government officials like ministers, and the agreement is done, and nothing happens after that, discover there's a tendency for everybody to get busy, and it's forgotten, and it's left at the level of document and paperwork. So to ensure that we take this engagement and the outcomes from paper to action, that joint committee was set up involving civil servants. Like I said, political leaders are like soldiers. Soldier come, soldier go, the barrack remains. The barrack is actually the civil service. So the members, for example, immediately were done with our own engagement for science, technology, and innovation. We immediately engaged senior members of staff of the various ministries and the agencies who would always be there. And there's a culture in the civil service of transferring paperwork, documentation, and responsibilities from one office to the other, from one officer to the other. Unlike political leaders that can come and go anytime. So that committee, that joint committee, made up of senior government officials, but also civil servants, all right, would keep working on implementation of some of this agreement. And like I said earlier, there are some MOUs and agreements that are still being worked on. For example, the one I mentioned, this science, technology, innovation in industry and investment action plan. That one is something that is still going on.
So you have to return?
Oh yes, we have to return, but I'm not waiting to return. The technical staff of my Turkish counterpart been working on that and been sent to their legal department, maybe the Ministry of Justice and Foreign Affairs, and that will be, when they are done, it will be communicated to us through diplomatic channels. And we already have technical staff also waiting and working from our own side. So for the agreements or the MOUs that have been signed, we have a joint committee made up of not just top government official, but the civil servant that will take this agreement from paper to action. And there's a
implementation.
To implementation. And there's continuous communication. And like I said, we don't need to go to Turkey or Turkey come here. We're working using technology to keep communication going, and then distill from this paper key next steps and actions are being taken, including the one happening in my ecosystem. So it's for the purposes of action, implementation, and sustainability. So that is it. Yes.
Thank you. I don't know if we have Ben Anyibe back with us.
Oh, Abike, is Honorable Abike there?
All right, let me get back to Dr. Abdulrazak now. How do we track progress, implementation, so that we don't fall into the same pit of, okay, we've had these agreements and then, it doesn't come to a real impact. How do we track?
Yes, I think we can track this, just as I mentioned earlier, by having a functional secretariat that their duty and responsibilities should be basically on implementation. The presidency can have someone, if there's a committee, that will look into the implementation of all these MOU that have been signed. So by so doing, you can track the progress of work and how they have been able to put in the energy and then the implementation processes. Then, if you want this also to move faster, if I could put it that way, we need to create this level of trust and make the implementation processes to be seamless between both parties. There shouldn't be much bureaucratic chains that you need to follow. So now you can work smart, as the Honorable Minister said it. You don't need to just go. You could have meetings even through the internet, what's they called, through the webs, and then that will show you. Then you can now have different steps of implementation process. That is the immediate and the future. What are those things that you can do now? And you need to involve the right stakeholders. When Mr. Ben was talking, at times the indigenous people, if I can put them, those that are in the diaspora, have more information than the people that are working in maybe the foreign affairs, because they've localized. Then they have real engagements with these people. They speak their language, they understand them, and then they have more trust, because we are still communicating with people over there.
Even intermarry.
Yes. I think I know about 10 of them. Even my neighbor opposite my house is married to a Nigerian, a Turkish man. So that's to show you that, look, when they know that they've stayed with this type of people for over 10 years, then that level of trust will be built, and then there will be commitment for them to be able to walk the talk and not just all the time paperwork, and then we shake hands and the media will post us, because the government equally should realize that they have a very short time before this tenure will finish. So Nigerians are waiting to see the real action and the results.
Okay, Nigerians are waiting to see the real action. Honorable Minister, now, no plan is perfect, no document is perfect. Yes. So what are the risks and grey areas, concerns that Nigeria should be asking about now?
Oh, well, I will leave Nigerians to ask about that. For us is to take quick, effective action. And when I was having my conversation with my counterpart, my Turkish counterpart, one of the things we resolve is that we must take quick action. We understood the urgency of the intervention that we're driving at for defense, for agriculture, for food security, for manufacturing, industry, for education sector and other sectors. We understood the urgency, and we've something that would take, if we go by bureaucracy, the usual bureaucracy that would take months of exchanges, because of the fact that we understood the urgency, we say let's explore technology. We mustn't exchange visits. Let's explore technology, use virtual meeting platforms to keep the meeting going, and we agreed. Within 2 days of our interaction, we're able to get the first draft of the Science, Technology, Innovation, Investment and Industry Action Plan. And you notice it's not agreement, it's action plan. Meaning we're going beyond agreement to taking action. And so there will be timelines. There will be clear responsibilities. What ought to be achieved each point and who should take action, so that deliverables, outcomes will be monitored, and then where there's drawbacks or weaknesses, it could immediately be breached or covered.
All right.
So this is something that Nigeria should look at. And one good thing about this engagement is that we also involved our diaspora and our business people across the two divides.
Wow. All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. So do we have Ben Anyibe back with us? Okay. I understand that Honorable Abike Dabiri-Rewa is back with us. And I'm asking, how is NIDCOM positioning Nigerians in diaspora to benefit from all of these opportunities?
Mr. Ben was with us. We went together to the engagement with the Presidency of Talks Abroad. And as the Minister said, we're going to strengthen this people-to-people engagement. For instance, the MOU says there should be a focal person on both sides. A focal person will be a Nigerian in diaspora in Turkey. So if there's anything, listen, this is a go-to person who will report back to us. They'll have a go-to person who will report back to them. So that people-to-people communication is very, very, very important. And that's the role NIDCOM will be playing. And like I said, because they have an agency for diaspora, and Nigeria has an agency for diaspora, it makes the work a bit easier for both parties. So, and we've been working on database of Nigerians in Turkey. And I've told the Nigerian community it's now time to make it very, very formal. Who is where? The data, we're already capturing data of Nigerians in Turkey. So it's very important we have data. Data is number one, it's key. And then who is doing what? And who can do what? Okay, we have so many associate professors, we have medical doctors, we have businessmen. Who does what, and how can we position them to ensure that this MOU, not just the one for the diaspora, the two communities, becomes really functional and successful. So where this is different is the fact that our people will be very much involved. The diaspora in Turkey will be involved. And like I said, even beyond the Turkish diaspora, the Turkish diaspora all over the world. So the Turkish diaspora in UK or Canada will work with the Nigerian diaspora in those countries to say, listen, we want to invest in your country. Can we do it? How can we go about it? We want to do this in science and technology. Let's work together. So the power of the diaspora is going to be manifested in this MOU. So people like Dr. Ben and the successful, amazing Nigerians in Turkey will be fully involved in this MOU. But what I was also stressing, which I'll stress when it's on the screen now, is that there's no NIDO desk set up in Turkey. Turkey is they're very strict with law and order. They don't register NGOs anyhow. We have millions of them. They don't do that. They do not encourage setting up of NGOs. So we'll work with our diaspora communities. We have student leaders. We met with them. Mr. Ben is president of NIDO. We met with him. There's another gentleman who is president of the Nigerian communities in Turkey. We met with them. So through them, we'll ensure that we work with them and ensure that the right people are projected forward for everything that we're planning to do with Turkey.
All right.
Thank you so much, Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa. She is the chairman, Nigerians Industrial Commission, NITCOM. Thank you so much. We hear you're on transit, so we have to let you go now. You have a safe trip. So let's now join Mr. Ben. I hear he's back with us. Mr. Ben, can you hear us? Mr. Ben, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
You know, thank you so much for your patience, you know, waiting for us to talk to Honorable Abike Dabiri, and she has made some clarification that there's no NITCOM decks, there are NIDO decks there in Turkey for now. But while we're talking about all the processes, you know, the agreements that are signed, you know, we also need to talk about implementation of this process, of these agreements that have been signed, and you are part of the business community. Is there a clear timeline, you know, for Nigerians to begin to see the outcome of these agreements that has been signed between Nigeria and Turkey?
Thank you much for me. Please let me just, please, I didn't actually say NIDO desk. I said diaspora desk, and I'm happy my Honorable Abike Dabiri, you know, tuned into this program. So when I said diaspora desk, I was talking about the MOU which NITCOM will be coordinating and taking care of, involving those of us in the diaspora. So, and I'm glad I had a great engagement with her. I saw her enthusiasm, her willingness to make this work, and I believe it's going to work. And we in Turkey are prepared, ready to work with NITCOM to make this you know, very, very beneficial. Now, on your question on timeline, I think the bulk of it depends on the Honorable Minister, NITCOM, and the Nigerian government. So I think the impression we have here is that the Nigerian government is ready to explore all these time and turn them into, you know, something concrete and that will benefit the Nigerian populace. But I want to add that, you know, Turkey is, I'm glad the Honorable Minister is here. The Turkey system, just like he has been emphasizing, is built on, you know, from turning the education are all solution-based. And so if you go walk into the supermarket here in Turkey, you can see products that are outcome from, you know, made by a university selling in the market. And they collaborate with business people to you know, as an investment. And this product find their way in the market. So, and the university benefit from the product, the solution to a problem, while the whole community of Turkey also benefit, and the government also benefit at large. So we have universities, we have, in Turkey there are universities, there are techno parks, there are vocational centers, there are lifelong education. And all of these are geared towards meeting one need of one problem or the other. So I think our government needs to learn this system, also find a way to establish it. And from my experience, the Turkish vocational training centers, lifelong education, and universities, they are willing to make the collaboration tangible by showing presence in Nigeria, building centers in Nigeria. If the Nigerians are willing to, you know, let that, you know, encourage so many of them have established, you know, that show interest to have a collaboration where there will be techno centers in Nigeria, where there will be a vocational institution in Nigeria for training, even training the trainer and training the trainees. So Turkey has for long been able to do this, and we're going to leverage on that. And as you know, it's like the China of Europe. And so the products, the industry, they are quite advanced with very quality product that can compare anywhere. So the bulk of the burden is left on our government to really deliver on this visit. And I thank you, speakers on this item, Honorable BK Dabiri has also emphasized one of the points I made earlier. The government, Honorable Minister, please, when you are engaging, find someone who has been here, who is in the system, familiar with most of the area of interest, to be part of your engagement. And I think that will go a long way to making this very results-oriented. And lastly, I just want to say that the Turkish government has a system where after a student finishes university and has an innovative idea, the government, like most of the industrial zones you visited.
Honorable Ben, we're on the last lap of this conversation now. We have just some few minutes to go, and we have contributions that our viewers sent. Let me start reading the ones that I have. He said, good morning, presenters. Good morning, our guests in the studio. Good morning, Nigerians. Nigeria-Turkey bilateral agreement is a welcome development, but this agreement will become a mirage if our national security is not looked into. Lives of Nigerians are not safe. Let these bilateral ties with Turkey reshape and revamp our security architecture. Let defense cooperation be deepened. The lives of every Nigerian matters. That's from Chris Simon. And Osman Adamu from Katsina State said, good morning, Honorable Minister. Good morning, other guests in the House and GMN team. Let me welcome the Minister from the Turkey trip agreement. We've been having numerous agreement and MOU being signed between Nigeria and numerous countries before now, and all are unique in their own way. And at the end of the day, it ends up on the drawing board. We'll be happy to see the agreement and the MOU translated practically on our soil here in Nigeria. Osman Adamu from Katsina State.
All right, I have one from Mohammed Awal Musa Afemai in Kano. And it says, how will the signed memoranda of understanding on social development, women empowerment, and child protection be translated into tangible community-level infrastructure and inclusive programs? And what specific monitoring mechanisms will ensure these partnerships reach the most vulnerable rather than remaining top-level diplomacy frameworks? Good morning, Nigeria, he says. And another, many thanks, NTA, for always coming with the spot-on discussions all the time. Well done. Now, the governors do well by signing this bilateral agreement with Turkey, but there is problem and challenges ahead. Thank God, Honorable Minister is on the program. How beneficial this agreement for home-based businesses, how beneficial will it be, especially small and medium enterprises? What consideration for us is in the whole agreement? May God bless Nigeria. And it says, this is from Kayode Busari in Lagos.
You have 1 minute to respond to that. You have 1 minute to respond.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, I had pointed out that we're going from agreement, from paperwork to action and implementation. And one thing that we would do is to track the implementation of this agreement or MOU. We would have to involve Nigerians. So in one of the engagements we'll have through the media, we'll be able to present some aspect of the MOU so that Nigerians could ask questions. Where are we on this? And even the timelines for this. So that if at a particular timeline something does not happen, implementation does not happen, then Nigerians can ask questions. But one assurance is that we are committed to implementing this, not just for the purposes or the sake of implementation, but because it has impact on our credibility as government officials, also impact on our electability for the president and for those that are
his cabinet,
members of his cabinet. So it's important to us. And also, most importantly, it is about legacy.
Yes.
So we're passionate about translating paperwork to action.
That's free campaign. Doctor, in the next 6 months or 1 year, what do you hope to see from this agreement in 30 seconds?
I hope to see results, to be specific. And if you know the talks, they are people that they hold strong importance to their integrity. And this visitation is equally initiated by the Turkish government. So that shows that both parties are going to work toward getting results, I believe.
Significant engagement there. So thank you so much all for coming on this program. We would like to thank the Honorable Minister who is here in our studio, and his Dr. Kingsley Tochukwu-Udeh, SAN, Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology. Thank you so much for your insight and explaining to us how the agreement went down. Dr. Abdulrazak Salu Ibrahim of the Department of Political Science and International Relations, Nile University. As always, we thank you for coming. We hope you come next time.
Thank you.
And we also thank Honorable Abike Dabiri-Erewa, Chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NITCOM. We also thank Honorable Ben Onyeku Anyebe, a business consultant, CEO, Diamond Gates Multi-Resources Limited, President, NIDIO Turkey, and Ambassador for Peace, Unity and Cultural Heritage, FESTAC, African Renaissance, and Advisor and Ambassador for Turkey, Imagine Abuja Investment Program. Thank you so much, sir, for explaining to us some of the agreements that have been signed there. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much for having me, and it's a wonderful time. Turkey is a very, very long time ago, and I hope the Nigerian law, just like Honorable Minister has said, will follow up and reciprocate and make clear the, create the enabling environment to make this area.
Yes. Okay, thank you so much. And on that note, that's Good Morning Nigeria for today. Thanks so much for joining us. I am Juma Yusuf.
And I am Victor Azo. See you again tomorrow. Have a great day.